The chaos is real, but so is your power. Imagine waking up to 17 notifications, 3 work emails, and a news alert that instantly spikes your anxiety. Before you've even brushed your teeth, your mind is under siege. This is not an exaggeration, it's the new normal. The modern world is loud, urgent, and relentless. Every moment feels like a small emergency. And yet, there are people, ordinary people, who seem unshaken. Amid deadlines, arguments, and digital overwhelm, they remain composed. Not because life is kinder to them, but because they've trained for it. This is the art of calm. A calm that doesn't come from luck or genetics, but from choice and discipline. It's the Stoic power hidden in plain sight. And today, you'll discover how to access it, no matter how chaotic life becomes. We often think calm is passive, but real calm is deeply active. It's a decision made again and again in the face of pressure. It's a mental muscle, not a moment of luck. The same way you train your body to lift heavier, you train your mind to carry stress with grace. And that training begins with awareness, noticing when you're pulled into chaos and choosing not to follow. You don't have to react, the space between. At the heart of Stoicism lies a radical idea. You are not your reactions. Between what happens and how you respond lies a gap, and in that space is your freedom. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl survived the Holocaust and taught this truth. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Most people never pause to claim this space. Instead, they react out of anger, fear, or habit. But Stoics train differently. They learn to notice the rising wave of emotion and pause just long enough to ride it rather than drown in it. Meet Jordan, a project manager in Chicago. He's about to present months of work when his boss cuts him off with, "This is off track." Everyone looks at him. His heart races, ego flares, but then he remembers the space. He breathes. He smiles and replies, "Thanks for the feedback. Let me clarify how this ties into our goal." Jordan kept his power, not by winning the room, but by mastering himself. This space is not imaginary. It's measurable in your breath, your heart rate, your tone of voice. And the more often you practice accessing it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, it's not something you search for, it's just how you live. Anger is not power, it's a trap. Anger disguises itself as strength. In truth, it's the moment we give our power away. When emotions hijack reason, we move from clarity to chaos. Science tells us that anger activates the amygdala, the brain's threat center, while deactivating the prefrontal cortex, where reasoning lives. In that state, you don't solve problems, you intensify them. Your actions are louder, but your wisdom goes silent. Remember Will Smith at the Oscars? One slap, 1 second, and decades of goodwill were overshadowed. It wasn't strength, it was surrender. The cost of that one moment became global, personal, and unforgettable. Stoicism doesn't ask you to suppress anger. It asks you to see it clearly, without obeying it. To observe it, not act from it. When you feel anger rising, it's not the anger that defines you, it's what you do next. Now meet Liana, a mother of 2, waiting in rush hour traffic. A man cuts her off, then flips her off. Her kids gasp. She feels the fire. But instead of reacting, she says, "We don't respond to chaos with more chaos." They drive on. Lesson taught, strength modeled. Anger can be a teacher, but only if we stay awake long enough to learn from it, not through it. That's the Stoic difference. True strength is stillness, not noise. In a culture that rewards volume and aggression, stillness can feel like surrender. But what if it's the ultimate flex? The kind of self-possession that turns conflict into silence, not out of fear, but mastery. In neuroscience, this is self-regulation, your ability to pause, breathe, and respond in alignment with your values, not your urges. When practiced consistently, it reshapes your neural pathways, making calm your default rather than chaos. Let's go to a tense boardroom in New York. Camille, a marketing director, just had her campaign torn apart by a senior executive. Others expect her to push back, but she leans in, nods, and says, "Thanks for the clarity, I'll rework it." No ego, no drama. Her restraint earns more respect than any comeback could. Now contrast that with social media, where noise equals visibility, not credibility. Online rage gets likes, but not trust. Stillness is rare. That's why it's powerful. True strength is not in dominance, but in discernment. Anyone can shout. It takes training to stay grounded when provoked. Stillness isn't absence of energy, it's energy focused with intention. Train like a Stoic. Calm is a daily practice. Calm isn't a spontaneous miracle. It's a skill built moment by moment through repetition. Stoics trained daily, not when the storm came, but long before. They rehearsed difficulty to be ready for it. They sought friction not to suffer, but to grow. Let's talk tactics. There are 5 micro moments each day that can become Stoic workouts. Traffic delays. Instead of cursing, use it to practice patience. Social media scrolling. Notice judgment, pause, and choose empathy. Interruptions at work. Shift from irritation to curiosity. Family disagreements. Hold space for silence before speaking. Unexpected change. Remind yourself, is this in my control? Meet Derek, a barista who wakes at 5 a.m. daily for his shift. His Stoic ritual? Before opening the cafe, he writes down 3 things out of his control and 3 he can master today. Weather, customer moods, traffic, out. His attitude, his pace, his preparation, in. Over time, these rituals become armor, not to shut the world out, but to meet it with openness and strength. Discipline creates room for grace. Even 5 minutes of conscious calm can shift an entire day. You are not your past. Escape the regret loop. Many people live in the shadows of what they should have done, what they could have said, or what they wish had gone differently. Regret becomes their morning alarm and their lullaby at night. But Stoicism teaches us the past is outside our control and therefore not worth our suffering. To be clear, this isn't denial. This is freedom. You acknowledge what has happened, you learn from it, and then you let it go. Because holding on is like drinking poison and expecting it to cleanse you. Consider Naomi, a 42-year-old nurse who left her marriage 2 years too late. She told herself she wasted time, missed opportunities, failed her younger self. But one day, after reading Epictetus, she realized, I can't change that I stayed, but I can change how I live now. Letting go of the past isn't forgetting. It's forgiving your former self for not yet knowing what you know now. It's a reset button only the present can push. Regret is a loop. Stoicism is the exit. The present is your power. Escape the anxiety of the future. If regret traps us in the past, anxiety chains us to the future. We obsess over what might happen, what could go wrong, or what others might think. But the future, like the past, is beyond our control. And that is exactly why Stoics ground themselves in the present. The Stoic practice of presence isn't some abstract theory. It's a habit of attention, a way of noticing, what am I doing right now? Am I living or am I rehearsing fear? Take Kai, a high school teacher in Portland. Every Sunday night, his chest tightens as he dreads the coming week. What if a student acts out? What if the lesson fails? But Kai started practicing a simple rule: stay in today. When he's with his partner at dinner, he puts away the planning. When he's teaching, he focuses only on the face in front of him, not the next meeting, not the next worry. He found his peace not by changing the future, but finally inhabiting the present. You can't breathe in a tomorrow that hasn't arrived. You only have the inhale of now, and in that breath, everything waits for you. Redefining resilience. Letting go as strength. Resilience is often misunderstood. We think it means holding on, pushing through, never giving up. But sometimes the real strength lies in knowing when to release. Letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the realization that holding tighter won't bring control, just more suffering. Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what we can control and what we must accept. Resilience, then, is not resistance to reality, it's harmony with it. Think of Ava, a startup founder in Austin. After 3 years of chasing funding, late nights, and constant pivots, her company failed. The numbers were clear. The market had shifted. Investors pulled back. She could have clung to the identity of being a CEO. But instead, she closed the company, wrote a letter of gratitude to her team, and took 3 months off to rest and reflect. What emerged wasn't a defeated entrepreneur, but a wiser one. Today, she leads a smaller, more meaningful venture, built not from ambition, but clarity. Her resilience wasn't in never falling, but in how she rose with less noise, more purpose. To let go is not to give up. It is to realign. To drop the rope in a tug-of-war you were never meant to win. And in that letting go, you rise. You define you, not the chaos. In a world that constantly tells you who to be, what to fear, and how to react, Stoicism offers a revolutionary alternative. Define yourself by your values, not by your circumstances. The noise around you doesn't get to dictate the person you are becoming. When chaos erupts, whether it's a failed plan, a lost job, or a betrayal, most people let that event shape their identity. I'm a failure, I'm unlucky, I'm broken. But the Stoic asks a deeper question. What kind of person do I want to be right now? Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire through plague, war, and personal grief. And yet, his journal, now known as Meditations, wasn't about ruling others. It was about ruling himself. He reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now meet Isaiah, a middle school teacher in Detroit. His school lost funding. His students faced trauma daily. But every morning, Isaiah stood at the door and greeted each child by name, with a calm presence that said, "This moment matters." He couldn't control the system, but he controlled the energy he brought into the room. He defined himself not by broken policies, but by intentional presence. Chaos will always knock, but identity is your answer. And when you answer with clarity, the noise fades. The calm within the storm. Final reflection. So here we are, 10 reflections on calm, not as a mood, but a method. Not as silence, but a stance. You've heard the science, you've met the people, you've walked through fires of emotion, choice, control, and surrender. And still, the question remains, will you train your mind to stay calm in any situation? Because storms don't ask for permission, they arrive, howling. But in the center of every storm, there is a still point, a space untouched, a place you can return to again and again. That stillness, it's not outside. It's not on a mountaintop or behind a paywall. It's in you. It's always been in you. The Stoics didn't promise an easy life. They promised a practiced one. A life where the most powerful thing you could do wasn't to control everything, but to control yourself. So when the next disruption hits, when the email lands, the plan fails, or the moment fractures, pause, breathe, ask, what would my calm self do now? You already know the answer. You just have to practice remembering it. If this reflection sparked something in you, stay with us. There's more to explore, more to train. Your next lesson in Stoic calm awaits in the next video.